successfully managed forest and boosting biodiversity. If you see the community forest approach in Nepal, this is really a very good practice. And environmental innovation, that is necessary flooding treatment, wetlands are cleaning polluted lakes, and we have lots of Nepal need stronger ESG policies. Even if you want to get some foreign direct investment, or if you want to go for the international collaborations, and of course most of the development agency or international organization, they see your or our ESG certifications. Otherwise it is very difficult to do for the international collaboration in case of loss of the foreign direct investment and other areas of the opportunities. And sustainability is a key sector in Nepal, because while talking in the sector wise, this banking and financial sectors, this green financing and responsible investment, the Nepal Stock Exchange has been promoting green financing and responsible investment initiative. Similarly, Rashtra Bank has introduced this ESG policy initiative. In October 2024, Nepal Rashtra Bank published the Green Finance Taxonomy, which covers and which is related with the environment, society, risk management approach, and to guide the sustainable finance practices in the Nepalese corporate sector, as well as if you see when in the energy sectors, hydropower sustainability and impact assessment, that is very necessary. The International Energy Agency, IEA, has been assessing hydropower sustainability and in its impact in Nepal. And similarly, investment in renewable energy project. The World Bank has been investing in renewable energy project in Nepal. So if you talk about like in manufacturing and industry status of the ESG practices for the sustainable development, adoption of the eco-friendly production practices, the Nepal Chamber of Commerce and other agencies, they have started to encourage eco-friendly production practices in the Nepalese society and Nepalese economy. Similarly, we have labor rights and ethical supply chain issues, and the International Labour Organization has been substantially supporting and advocating for labor rights and ethical supply chain in Nepal. And talking, this is a major agenda of the today's this international conference, higher education for in sustainable tourism, innovations and economic development. Of course, we have to bring some new ideas, new approach that should be different as compared to others. Is related to more innovation. Of course, our product, our services, our approach, our knowledge is innovative, and definitely it works in the society, and sustainable tourism practices is very essential, which this tourism sector is contributing significantly in Nepalese economy or Nepalese GDP. And therefore, the United Nations World Tourism Organization has been promoting sustainable tourism practices in Nepal and cultural heritage preservation. But the thing is that we have to raise, because I have seen here lots of the entrepreneur or businessmen or the practitioner from the tourism sectors, whether these practices are really relevant or compatible to the Nepalese system or not. Sometimes if you see some of the international practices we want to impose or we want to implement here, but whether we do the research or not, and whether these practices are really useful to exploit the Nepalese local resources or not, or to help the community through the lots of the innovative tourism programs. That is the great questions. And we have lots of challenges to ESG adoption in Nepal, because I myself and Bashal, we have done the research in 2024, and we identify the challenges to ESG adoption in Nepal, and this is of course this is a lack of regulations, and then so that Nepal government has to make the mandatory how your company, how this hotel, or how that organization contributing environment, society and governance. What is your score? And accordingly, the concerned authorities should have to certify in the that on the basis of these regulatory mechanisms. And of course, we have a very weak enforcement and existing policy. Of course, Rashtra Bank introduced these ESRM guidelines, but poorly implemented. So therefore, we need the commitment from the public sector, private sector, and the government sectors. And limited awareness, low understanding of ESG among business and investor, and this in this area there will be more role of the university. There will be more role of the higher education to create the awareness, to create the academic advocacy, to do the research in this area, and so we can glorify the awareness level to the society. And we have lots of funding gaps, insufficient green finance mechanism and investment, data transparency and issue lack of standardized ESG reporting and disclosure. That is necessary because there are lots of the guidelines and there are lots of the indices that we have to see very best practices adopted by the European countries. And still we have a traditional business mindset, resistance to sustainable practices. Even still we are unable to create the awareness to our business men or to the practitioner the role of ESG, and uncertain policies and infrastructure gap. Of course, this creates some challenges of ESG adoption in Nepal. And we have lots of opportunity, yes, if you really adopt ESG practices, and growing green finance is the worldwide agenda, worldwide issues, expanding access to green bonds and the sustainable investment funds and government initiatives. Of course, Nepal, from the last 5-10 years, Nepal government or concerned authority has taken some kind of the initiatives for the promotion of the ESG integrations, and we have to work on these issues on more about because we have ample opportunity in case of hydropower and solar energy investment can drive sustainable growth. And global market access, yes. If you see, some of the country has already started as a part of the mandatory. If you want to enter even in the international market, or if you want to bring some of the foreign direct investments, so ESG certification is a must. And ESG compliance can attract this foreign investor and improve trade opportunities. Sustainable tourism, of course, ecotourism and cultural heritage preservation offer ESG aligned with the growth and development. Technology and innovations, digital solution of ESG reporting and impact measurement are emerging, and rising stakeholder demands. So these are the opportunities identified in case of ESG adoption in the Nepalese society. And if you, in these issues, I want to connect with the higher education and sustainable development, especially goal number, more customized and more focused. Goal number is sustainable development goal number 4, and that goal basically highlights on the quality educations. But our quality education, our education mechanism should be directed toward the sustainable practices, every domain and dimension of the sustainable practices. Therefore, higher education institutions are key for the implementation of sustainable principle. Higher education institutions are the vehicle of bringing this sustainable awareness to the society and to the communities. And sustainable based curricula and cultural change is key of the mindset transformation that is necessary. So we have to work on the mindset transformation also, and therefore this HEI, higher education institutions, are viewed as changing agents and catalysts in development of sustainable related issues. And therefore, of course, from this year, so it is our pride, it is the pride of the Tribhuvan universities, and this year Faculty of Management Tribhuvan University has started the academic program on sustainable development in business and management, ESG related, in targeting to the professional and practitioner. So postgraduate diploma in sustainable development, and therefore from this year as a different or customized program focusing to this ESG or sustainable development we have started from this year. And the inclusion of the 17th Sustainable Development Goal in the country's 15th Plan National Policy Documents and the University Grant Commission, because it is my pride to speak in front of our UGC chairmen, because I got this information from his article published in the Emerald in 2023, and this University Grant Commission lead higher education reform program. Of course, from the last 10 years, University Grant Commission, which is one of the regulatory body of the higher education in Nepal, started lots of the higher education for sustainable development programs. That could be the milestone to create some kind of the awareness, some kind of the change for the sustainable developments. And in the absence of this HESD literacy and the persuasive strategy, if you see HEIS leadership is less active in lobbying with SDG goal 4.7 with the government and funding agency, university faculty and trade unions. And in fact, both insight and initiative to conceptualize this HESD are lacking in Nepal. So who is responsible? Mainly with the collaboration with the public-private partnership, the higher education institutions should have to design this framework, how to implement, how to operationalize this mechanism of the sustainable development issues, especially in tourism and other sectoral area of the management. So this is the way forward for ESG adoption in Nepal. The first, develop comprehensive ESG regulation is must, and that should be implemented and establish sector-specific policies, not only the financial sector. What would be the ESG's domain and construct that would be better compatible for the education sector, hospitality sector, tourism sector, and sector-wise ESG guideline is necessary in Nepal, and strengthen enforcement like improving monitoring and compliance mechanisms should be, because guidelines do not work itself, because we need a strong monitoring and compliance mechanism, and connect HEI with the sustainability. Third dimension is very popular and very relevant of the today's conference, that curriculum academic programs with training and capacity building programs for business and investor, because sometimes we can run like a crash course of the ESG, because I have seen lots of the international training centers, they have run the crash course to make the ESG leader to the Nepalese practitioner. So why don't we university people, why don't our higher education institution run this type of even in the crash course and other academic programs to create the awareness or to design the implementation and operationalization process of the sustainable practices in the Nepalese society, and expand green financing concept, introduce incentive for ESG aligned project and sustainable investment. Yes, data and transparency, because we believe the information, since we have been experiencing the knowledge-based economy. So in this knowledge-based economy, the data is a very important thing to make the decisions and to do other activities, and therefore we need to improve our data and transparency. And of course, because higher education has lots of stakeholders, so higher education should have to increase with the public-private partnerships, so we can foster the collaboration for the sustainable infrastructure and development. And finally, we promote the circular economy, and because this is very necessary for the sustainable aspect, that is support for business in adopting sustainable production and waste management practices. So with this, I want to conclude my presentations. So thank you for listening to me. So if you have any suggestion to me, so I highly appreciate and welcome your suggestion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You will be having 10 minutes for question and answer round. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand. Yeah.
As a hardcore researcher, you presented a lot. It's not a question, sir. It's just a request. You are the academic leader of the university, where there is 450,000 students are being enrolled, and 1/3 of that one, I think so, it is concerned with the management faculty. So as an academic leader, launching a kind of special course is a very nice one. Do you have any future plans that for all the programs which are run by your faculty, you are including that ESG and the risks and other thing else in the days to come? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. More than almost from till now, we have 29 different very powerful programs run by the Faculty of Management to target more than 250,000 students. Therefore, I really appreciate your suggestion, and as a dean, I will try to incorporate even environmental, social risk management may be relevant to the different curriculum under the Faculty of Management. Thank you for your suggestion, sir.
Okay, and the chief guest Debrad Adhikari, Professor Doctor from UGC Nepal to receive the token of love. Keynote speech on tourism and sustainability by Professor Dr. Yuzina Wickens from OTS Academy, Oxford, UK. Before calling her, let me just read out her biography, a short biography indeed. Professor Yuzina Wickens is chair of OTS, Oxford, UK, and editor-in-chief of the Journal on Tourism and Sustainability. She was awarded her doctorate in 1999 in the Sociology Department at Oxford Brookes University, UK. She has extensive teaching experience, having taught tourism and sociology over 30 years. She has also supervised to completion over 20 PhD students. Her work adopts a sociological perspective and reflects her research interest in tourism development and sustainability. She has given keynote addresses at national and international tourism conferences and contributed to tourism education planning exercises in several countries including Malaysia, Cambodia, Laos, Nepal, Serbia, Greece, and Turkey. She is a widely published authority, and her substantial portfolio of research outputs comprises journal papers, book chapters, edited books, and conference proceedings. Professor Yuzina Wickens has played a key role in the advancement of our knowledge and understanding in issues concerning tourism experiences, motivation, marketing, management, planning, tourism impacts, host and guest relationship, socio-economic impacts, mass tourism, volunteer tourism, research methods, and sustainable tourism development. She has played a key role in the organization of OTS webinars after the virus. Furthermore, Professor Wickens has organized several international conferences and is currently chair of the International Conferences on Sustainable Tourism Development in Uncertain Times, Nepal, March and April 2025. She has a passion for traveling and has traveled to over 40 countries. So let's give a big round of applause to Professor Dr. Yuzina Wickens.
Thank you very much. Today I'm going to speak to you though about the role of higher education in sustainable tourism development and economic development, innovations and economic development. Okay, this is my email address, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Tourism and Sustainability, and I'm a consultant also on tourism and sustainable development nationally. Okay, the role of higher education in sustainable tourism innovation and economic development. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this event. Heartfelt thanks to all of you, because I'm aware of the hard work that you're doing on our behalf. We truly appreciate it. In particular, I would like to offer my special thanks to Professor Biranzi Gatman. Is he here? Yes. Oh yes, from Kalika University. Thank you very much for your warm hospitality and all your hard work to make us feel very welcome. To the organizing committee, and of course the patrons, Professor Dr. Raz Adhikari, Chairperson University, the Grants Commission, and so on. Beautiful Pokhara, so peaceful, isn't it? And we're here today talking about sustainable tourism development. But what does that mean? I mean, there's so much has been written on sustainability in tourism, and there's still a debate amongst researchers about what is sustainable, and is it possible to have sustainable in our countries? So my structure of my presentation will start with the spirit of sustainable tourism, and then I will go on to talk about the role of higher education in sustainable tourism, the role of higher education innovations in tourism, and the role of higher education AI in tourism, because there are threats and opportunities, yes? Okay, let us start then with sustainable tourism. It covers the complete tourism experience. And the main concerns include economic, a lot has been written on the economic sustainable tourism development. On the social side of it, there's still a debate there about how do you implement those sustainable tourism development rules. And environmental. Now, when I carried out my research, the people were not really aware, or perhaps they were no concern about net zero. What the concern was to find enough food to put on the plates for the kids. And here we are today talking about more development, or perhaps more sustainable development. Improving tourist experiences, and that is part of the sustainable development, because without people wanting to travel, we would not be talking today about tourism development. And of course, addressing all the needs of the host communities. This is a neglected area actually of research, because a lot more people concerned now about the environment and net zero. Okay, the spirit now of sustainable tourism. The business of attracting, accommodating, entertaining tourists, operating, is the spirit, is at the heart of sustainable development. And there is a consensus amongst all of us here in the community. So the spirit of sustainable tourism is the business of attracting, accommodating, entertaining tourists, and operating, creating jobs. Creating jobs. Sorry. Can you hear me out the back there? Yes? Creating jobs, promoting culture in a sustainable way. I mean, do we all want this global culture that many people talk about? No, we don't. We want our individual, personalized cultures. And that's one of the reasons, actually. People want to come and see Nepal. Yes? Because it's such a special country. And it brings, of course, hope. So this is, for me, anyway, the spirit of sustainable tourism. But from the economic points of view, it creates jobs, a lot of employment opportunities. It promotes culture, perhaps in a sustainable way. It all depends, of course, because where I carried out my research recently in Greece was that people wanted to embrace this westernized culture, the global culture. And they forget all about the local traditions and customs, which are very, very important in sustainable tourism development. And of course, it does bring hope to many people who live up the mountains, the villages, in small, remote communities. And of course, there is the World Tourism Day. Every year we celebrate that. So tourism is a big, big business. So the spirit of sustainable tourism, if I can continue a bit more about that, is all about knowing the right knowledge, yes? What is sustainable development and for whom? Is it for the business perspective? Is it for the local perspective? Is it for the education sector? And do those students who leave university are aware of the differences between social, cultural, and economic sustainability? The values. Now, values is very, very difficult really to instill into our students, because what they like is to have their mobile phone, to play with it, and this is the value they attach to it. But we have, as educators, we have to instill in them the value of knowing what is sustainable tourism development. There are skills. Of course, the employers want the students to graduate, or perhaps when they go for work placement, to acquire the right skills, not just writing and reading, but also to appreciate the difference, the cultural differences, and critical thinking. Now, how do you teach somebody critical thinking? This is very difficult. I always found that very difficult in my career as a teacher. And problem solving. Perhaps you can do that during the seminars. We can give them a problem about how do communities adjust to the different nature of culture. So, the role of higher education in sustainable tourism. In what follows, I'm going to talk about this, because this is a very important area. And us as educators really need to know and to speak with a single voice. So, what is education for me? That's what a student will say. It gives us, of course, there you are. It gives us better knowledge, yes, and skills and possibility to know the world better. Tourism students need to understand there is more to Nepal. There is a lot more to Asia. There are other countries, like in Europe, but the tourists, they come to visit Nepal, they come with different cultural values. They expect something, of course, to remind them back home, yes? Effective working in it, to shape our character, and more valuable than money. That's what I say. Education is more valuable than money. I'm sure you agree to that. Perhaps some of you won't, because if you are got a higher education diploma, you can't find a job, so to you it's not very valuable, because you're looking for a job. But you can always set up your own business. And every tourist village starts with a little idea. Yes, you talk to your peer group, and then you say, what about this? And that's how businesses start. Okay, it provides, of course, formal and informal learning opportunities, which enable students to develop knowledge, the skills, the attitudes, the values you also share about sustainable tourism, and required to contribute to a sustainable future of the tourism industry. So we need to speak with a single voice. Education prepares students with the skills required to have a positive impact on social, economic, and environmental sustainability. Fostering the right skills and attributes in students, they will be able to navigate diverse career paths. So their expertise will be valuable in driving a sustainable future of tourism and hospitality. Tourism, it is a very appealing industry, of course, to several students. That's what they go to do a degree or a diploma, because they're interested in a career that offers them the chance to travel, to meet new people. And I remember my school days as a student. I loved those trips we used to do with our tutors, to visit Holland, to visit France, to visit Italy, Spain, and so on. And you learn, of course, about the lifestyles of the locals. Tourism industry includes a range of positions. So there are some social media, travel consultants, entertainment or sales that suits students' interests. Appealing to students also are travel consultants, tour managers, tour guides is the fastest growing job in tourism. Would you believe that? A lot of people travel, not just locally, taking tourists for a visit to a museum or a monument, but also they like to go abroad. Yes, lots of our students in the UK, they go to USA and they become tour guides. So there are lots of jobs. It isn't just one kind of job. So the importance of education. Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela, this is what he reminded us. But do the students really want that? Do they want to change the world? Or perhaps they're interested in a career that pays a lot of money, so their values change over time. So what is higher education for? It transmits knowledge, the skills, the right skills, and character traits. It stimulates, of course, economic growth. It raises awareness of local and global problems. We heard a lot from our previous speaker about Sustainable Development Goals, so I'm not going to repeat them because I'm sure you're all familiar with them. But training young people, we have to teach them. Part of a curriculum really should be all about Sustainable Development Goals. Is it an impossible dream, or can we perhaps achieve them? So the purpose of education is far broader. It is training young people the skills, the right skills they need to find their first job, and it's a responsibility of all of us. I have a relative who works currently at the Hilton Hotel in Kathmandu, and she tells me that part of her training is to do it at the hotel. That's fair enough. But will she learn all those skills we're talking about Sustainable Development Goals? Because sometimes, I have to say from past experience, when they go to do the training, they're given different jobs. And that is not right, in my mind. And again, because our role is to empower individuals and to prepare them for life, to develop skills and abilities so they can be successful in their careers. Teaching tourism students how to solve problems, think critically, make informed decisions, and sustainable economic growth, and of course, socialize students into society. This is our role as educators. For instance, the value of respect, teaching cultural values and norms of our own. Education, therefore, is the engine, yes, of the economy. It shapes our identities, who we are, on employment. And of course, when you meet somebody for the first time and say, oh, where do you work? Oh, I have got my own business, set up my own business online, on travel and tourism. Oh, that's fantastic. And how did you do that? So it is who we are, you know. It shows our values, our interests in life. It leads to awareness, of course, and concern for the environment. Having said that, many of our students, I'm talking about UK, don't really realize, yes, they 5 minutes ago, so I have to be very faster. The green issues, which are very, very important, we're talking about it. Education, of course, is the foundation of a culture. Studies on the role of higher education, sustainable tourism, show that a good education is the foundation for the future. Higher education expanding worldwide, and it's a serious and important subject. It links cultures and challenges prevailing perceptions. And provides, of course, guidance to planning, to developing strategies that support sustainability. You have heard of those from the previous speaker. And vocational education and training, this is at the heart of our jobs here. Role of higher education in sustainable tourism, of course. We live in an uncertain world. It's fragile. We need different skills and aptitudes and knowledge. Educational systems need to change radically to meet this need. And I'm coming to that. Education and tourism are mentioned several times in the United Nations Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. It's an acknowledgement, of course, of the global significance of tourism and education. And Sustainable Development Goals, our previous speaker has told us all about this. I'm going to move those again because I've only got 5 minutes left. It is to apply skills and knowledge critically and logically. Practical training and theoretical knowledge is at the heart of our curriculum. Integrating sustainability into higher education curriculum, that is very, very important. To apply what they learn into practice and develop interpersonal skills. So students develop the skills of teamwork, reasoning, communication, and IT competence. Students gain professional practical skills required for tourism and hospitality industries. So, tourism education. However, are we witnessing now a revolution? Should of all ways of doing things be transcended? What challenges are facing hospitality and tourism-related services? What is the future for tourism and hospitality services? What are the new trends towards tourism education? Will robots take over the industry? And I'm afraid they have started taking over the industry in certain countries. Tourism knowledge should be informed, therefore, of the global national skills. It should include international aspects of the safety and security of people willing to become tourists, wars, crime. It should include safety precautions, health and hygiene practices, and student knowledge should include tourists' needs about safety and security. But there is a changing role of higher education, and we need to inform our students of the risks of AI. And of course, we live in changing times. Our state of our global economy, of course, there's a big question mark on that. There's been wars, international relations, and AI risks and opportunities facing the industry. Tourism is the main engine of the world economy, but it's constantly changing, continuously adopts innovative strategies. And innovation refers to the ways in which tourism industry updates the experiences that tourists have when traveling and or staying in a hotel. So innovation and entrepreneurship. Tourism trends, Internet of Things, integration, big data analytics. So ways of technology can improve the hotel guest experience, changing times. Hotel chains already allow guests to check in and out of access the room with their mobile phones. How do you better serve customers? Front desk robots, concierge robots, and of course, serve robots. Innovation in hospitality industry. This is Pakistan, by the way, and this is how they produce the picture of the customers, and it gives tourists independence to the trips. Does it? Different aspects of tourism can be managed, become clear just how influential technological innovation has become. Technology makes it possible, of course, to improve tourist satisfaction and cut costs down in many departments. It has been used by tourism industry for the last 20 years, and can take and process huge loads of data. AI. Now, is that a risk or perhaps a benefit to tourism industry? Perhaps for some it will be a benefit. Artificial intelligence. Data is collected and recorded, and this is of course for benefit to the customer and for their business. These insights are used to customize visitors' experiences. And how do you deal with customer frustration? I'm sure you've always been on the phone and are waiting to talk to a human being, and it's a machine, and it's very frustrating. So, there's a consensus. AI improves business activities in marketing, improves the tourist experience, satisfied customer, you have a return customer, and of course, big data now is the biggest thing. And tourism-related services are experiencing lots of changes. Hotel robots create a new ways of interaction. Here we are. Role of higher education is to prepare for students working in a new environment. Industry is constantly evolving. Hotel robots create new ways of interaction. And that's it. I'm open to suggestions. What will happen in the future though? Will robots replace workers in the tourism industry? That is a big question. I have got no answer. Perhaps I'm waiting for you to give me some positive comments. So the future of hospitality, integrating AI into hotels and restaurants, is a reality. And that's the last concluding point I'm going to say. Role of higher education, sustainable tourism issues concerning innovation in tourism, the importance of higher education in advancing sustainable development, and there is a need to reflect for all of us here on issues concerning the sustainability of the industry. The tourism industry is changing as we are discussing here, debating our concerns. Okay? And thank you for listening.
Mahananda Charise to award her with token of love, and Capacity sir to assist on this. If possible, we are thinking of having all the presentations in this hall as we are ahead of our scheduled time. The next presentation will be on spiritual tourism and will be delivered by Associate Professor Dr. Anne Suware Aston. Before calling her here, let me quickly brief on her biography. Associate Professor Anne Suware Aston is the Associate Dean for Administration at the National Institute of Development Administration, NIDA, Bangkok, Thailand, specializing in wellness tourism development, destination branding and hospitality marketing. She holds a PhD in hospitality from the University of Queensland, Australia in 2010. With a strong academic and research background, she has won prestigious awards including the Best PhD Paper Award 2010 and Best Paper Award in 2019, followed by different other awards. Dr. Aston has published extensively on topics such as spiritual tourism, hotel restaurant co-branding and human resource management in leading tourism journals. She has also